Marcus Chen pressed his face against the cold concrete wall and listened. The heavy footsteps of the Kethver patrol echoed through the empty street above. He counted 6 sets of boots. Maybe 7. Their metal armor clanked with each step like broken machines walking. He waited in the dark basement of what used to be a pizza shop. Now it was just another dead building in dead Chicago. The aliens had bombed most of the city 15 years ago. What they didn't destroy, they left to rot. Only their new buildings mattered now. Clean white towers that hurt to look at. Places where humans were not welcome. The footsteps moved away. Marcus let out a slow breath. He touched the small radio on his belt and whispered into it. Elena. Jake, they're gone. Come down. 2 shadows moved in the darkness behind him. Dr. Elena Vasquez stepped carefully down the broken stairs. Her medical bag made soft sounds as it bounced against her leg. Behind her came Jake Morrison, barely 20. Years old, but already the best computer person Marcus had ever met. The boy could break into alien systems like they were made of paper. How many? Elena asked. Her voice was tired. She had been working for 18 hours straight, helping injured people in the underground clinics, 6 or 7. Standard patrol. They're moving toward the lake. Marcus checked his watch. An old human watch that still worked. The aliens had taken all the good technology for themselves. We have maybe 10 minutes before they circle back. Jake sat down on a piece of broken concrete and opened his laptop. It was old and beaten up, but he had made it work with stolen alien parts. The screen glowed blue in the darkness. I'm still getting signals from the tower, he said. Strong ones. Whatever they're planning, it's big. 3 months ago, Jake had learned how to listen to alien radio signals. Most of it was boring stuff about work schedules and supply deliveries, but sometimes he caught something important. Last week, he had heard them talking about moving humans off Earth, all of them. Marcus looked at his 2 friends. Elena was 42, old enough to remember what the world was like before the war. She had been a real doctor then, working in a real hospital. Now she fixed broken bones in basements and gave medicine to sick children in sewers. Jake was just a kid when the aliens came. He barely remembered cars and movies and ice cream. Marcus was 35. He had been a Marine when the war started. He remembered the day the alien ships appeared in the sky. Big dark things that blocked out the sun. He remembered the day they started shooting. He remembered watching his unit die on a beach in California, while alien soldiers walked through their bullets like they were raindrops. Tell me again what you heard, Marcus said to Jake. The young man typed on his computer. Numbers and letters filled the screen. Most of it looked like garbage, but Jake could read it like a book. They called it Project Erasure. They want to move all humans to another planet, a prison planet. Then they'll have Earth all to themselves. Jake's fingers moved fast on the keyboard. But that's not the interesting part. What's the interesting part? They mentioned something else. Something they never found. A place called Site 7. They're still looking for it. Marcus felt his heart beat faster. Site 7. Elena looked up from her medical bag. I've heard that name before. Back when I worked at the hospital, some military people came through. They were hurt bad, but they kept talking about Site 7, said it was important, said we had to protect it. Protect what? They never said. They died before they could tell us. Jake hit more keys. The screen changed colors. Green text appeared. I found something else. Look at this. He turned the laptop so Marcus and Elena could see. I've been tracking their communications for weeks. Every time they mention Site 7, they send coordinates. The same coordinates every time. Marcus studied the numbers on the screen. They looked familiar. After a moment, he realized why. Those are somewhere in Illinois, not far from here. 40 miles west, Jake said, near a place called Aurora. There's nothing there now, just empty fields and broken roads. Elena packed her medical supplies back into her bag. Why would they keep looking for something in empty fields? Because it's not empty, Marcus said. It's hidden. The 3 of them sat in silence for a moment. Above them, another patrol walked by. Different. Aliens this time. Marcus could tell by the way they moved. The Kethver were heavy and loud. The Zephyrians were quiet but fast. The Mordai barely made any sound at all, but they left a cold feeling in the air that made humans sick. "We need to find Site 7, Marcus said finally. "That's crazy," Elena said. "We don't even know what it is. It could be nothing. It could be a trap, or it could be exactly what we need." Marcus stood up and walked to a broken window. Through the dirty glass he could see the alien towers in the distance. They glowed with soft blue light that never went out. "Elena, how many people did you treat this week?" 37. "How many died?" Elena was quiet for a long moment. 5. "Jake, how many humans do you think are left in Chicago?" "Maybe 10,000, probably less." Marcus turned back to his friends. "The aliens are going to take us all away. Every human on Earth. They're going to put us in cages on some planet where we'll never see the sun again, unless we stop them." "We're 3 people," Elena said. "What can we do against an entire alien army?" "We can find Site 7, we can learn what they're so afraid of, and maybe, if we're lucky, we can use it." Jake closed his laptop and put it in his backpack. "When do we leave?" "Tonight, as soon as it gets dark." Elena shook her head, but she was already checking her medical supplies again. "This is insane. We don't have weapons. We don't have transportation. We don't even have a real plan." "We have each other," Marcus said. "And we have something the aliens don't understand." "What's that?" "We're fighting for our home." Marcus walked to a metal box hidden behind some broken furniture. Inside were the few weapons they had managed to find. 3 old pistols with not much ammunition. A hunting rifle with a cracked scope. Some knives and a few hand grenades that might or might not still work. "Take what you can carry," he said. "Leave the rest for the others." As they gathered their supplies, Jake's radio made a soft beeping sound. He put on his headphones and listened. "What is it?" Marcus asked. Jake's face went pale. "They're moving tonight. The aliens, they're bringing in transport ships. Big ones." "How big?" "Big enough for thousands of people." Marcus felt ice in his stomach. "They're starting Project Erasure." "Not starting," Jake said. "They're finishing it. This is the last group. Everyone else is already gone." Elena grabbed Marcus's arm. "We have to warn people. We have to help them hide." "There's nowhere to hide," Marcus said quietly. "Not anymore." He looked at his 2 friends. Elena with her doctor's bag and her tired eyes. Jake with his computer and his young face that had seen too much. They were all that was left of the human resistance in Chicago. Maybe all that was left anywhere. "Site 7, he said. "That's our only chance now." Above them, the sound of alien aircraft filled the night sky. The hunt had begun. The old subway tunnels under Chicago smelled like death and rust. Marcus led Elena and Jake through the darkness, using a small flashlight that barely gave any light. They had been walking for 3 hours, moving away from the city center toward the abandoned suburbs. "Stop," Jake whispered. He pulled out a small device that looked like a radio. "I'm getting something." The device made quiet clicking sounds. Jake listened with his headphones on. His face showed surprise, then excitement. "What is it?" Elena asked. "It's not aliens," Jake said. "It's people, humans. They're using the same frequency we use." Marcus felt hope for the first time in months. "How many?" "I don't know, but they're talking to someone else." "Someone far away." Jake turned some dials on his device. "Listen to this." He handed Marcus the headphones. Through the static, Marcus could hear a woman's voice speaking English with an Australian accent. "Blue Dog, this is Kangaroo Base. We have visual on 3 transport ships moving east." "Looks like they're heading for the coast," another voice answered. This one sounded Russian. "Kangaroo Base, this is Wolfpack. We see them too. Same ships hit our sector yesterday. Took 200 people." A third voice joined the conversation. Spanish accent. "South American maybe. All stations, this is Jaguar. We need to coordinate. These ships are hitting all of us at the same time." Marcus gave the headphones back to Jake. "Can you talk to them?" "I think so. But if I send a signal, the aliens might hear it too." Do it anyway. We need to know who these people are. Jake typed on his computer for a few minutes. Then he spoke into a small microphone. All stations, this is Chicago base, 3 survivors. Looking for Site 7? Do you copy? The radio was quiet for a long time. Then the Australian woman's voice came back. Chicago base, this is Kangaroo. Did you say Site 7? Yes, we have intelligence that suggests it contains something important, something the aliens are still looking for. Stand by, Chicago. They waited in the dark tunnel. Water dripped somewhere in the distance. Elena checked her watch. It was almost midnight. The radio crackled again. This time it was a different voice, American accent, older man. Chicago base, this is Texas Star. We've been looking for Site 7 for 10 years. Never found it. What intelligence do you have? Marcus took the microphone from Jake. This is Marcus Chun, former Marine. We intercepted alien communications. They mentioned coordinates near Aurora, Illinois. They're still searching for it. Aurora, the Texas voice said, that's only 40 miles from your position. The Australian woman came back on. Chicago, how many people do you have? 3. We have 47. Wolfpack has 32. Jaguar has 28. Texas Star has over 100. Marcus looked at Elena and Jake. They were not alone. There were other humans fighting back. Other people who had not given up. How long have you been organized? Marcus asked. 2 years, the Australian said. Started small, found others, built this network. We share information, coordinate attacks, help each other survive. Attacks? The Russian voice answered. Small ones. Hit supply convoys, rescue prisoners, sabotage their equipment. Nothing big enough to make them really angry. But that's changing, the Spanish voice said. These transport ships are new. They're taking everyone? Even the people in the hidden camps. Which is why we need to find Site 7, Texas Star said. If the aliens are still looking for it after 15 years, it must be something they're afraid of. Marcus made a decision. We're going to Aurora. Tonight, if anyone wants to help, we could use the support. Chicago, you're crazy, the Australian said. Aurora is crawling with aliens. They have a major base there. Then that proves we're looking in the right place. Jake was listening to his other radio, the one that picked up alien signals. His face went white. Marcus, he whispered. The aliens are talking about Aurora. They're sending more ships there. A lot more ships, Marcus spoke into the microphone again. All stations, we have new intelligence. The aliens are moving major forces to Aurora. That has to mean something. The radio was quiet for a moment. Then Texas Star came back. Chicago, we're sending a team, 12 people. They can be at your position in 6 hours. Wolfpack is sending 8, the Russian said. Jaguar can send 5, the Spanish voice added. Kangaroo Base will send 10, the Australian woman said. But it will take us longer to get there, maybe 12 hours. Marcus felt something he had not felt since the war began. He felt like they had a chance. All teams meet at coordinates ... He looked at Jake, who quickly calculated a safe meeting. Point. Meet at the old truck stop on Highway 88, 2 miles east of Aurora. We'll scout the area and wait for everyone to arrive. Copy that, Chicago. Texas Star out. Wolfpack copies. See you there? Jaguar understands. Good hunting. Kangaroo. Base will be there. Don't start the party without us? Jake turned off the radio and packed his equipment. This is really happening, isn't it? Yes, Marcus said. This is really happening. Elena shouldered her medical bag. 35 people total. If we all make it to the meeting point. We'll make it, Marcus said. We have to. They climbed out of the subway tunnel through a broken grate. The night air felt cold after the stuffiness underground. Above them, alien aircraft moved across the sky like metal stars. Their lights swept back and forth, searching for something. They're looking for us, Jake said. Let them look, Marcus replied. We're ghosts now. They moved through the ruined suburbs of Chicago. Houses stood empty with broken windows and collapsed roofs. Cars sat rusted in driveways, their doors hanging open like the mouths of dead animals. Weeds grew through cracks in the streets. Sometimes they saw signs of other humans, clothes hanging on lines between buildings, small gardens hidden behind fences, smoke rising from hidden fires, but they never saw the people themselves. Everyone had learned to hide. As they walked, Elena told them about the early days after the invasion, how the hospitals had been overwhelmed with wounded people, how the aliens had taken all the medical supplies for themselves, how doctors and nurses had been forced to work in the alien facilities, treating injured alien soldiers while humans died in the streets. "I tried to resist," she said. "I tried to refuse to help them. They showed me what happened to doctors who wouldn't cooperate. They made me watch." Jake told them about growing up in the occupied city, how the aliens had closed all the schools, how children had to learn in secret in basements and abandoned buildings, how anyone caught teaching human history or science was taken away and never seen again. "They want us to forget who we are," he said. "They want our children to grow up thinking this is normal. That humans are supposed to be slaves." Marcus told them about the war, about watching his friends die while their weapons had no effect on alien armor, about the retreat that never ended, about the day his unit had finally broken apart, every man for himself. "I thought I was the only one left," he said. "I thought everyone else had given up or died. We're all still here," Elena said. "And now, we're going to do something about it." They reached the highway as the sun started to rise. In the distance, they could see the lights of Aurora, but these were not the warm yellow lights of a human town. These were the cold blue lights of an alien base. "Site 7 is somewhere in there," Jake said. "Then that's where we're going," Marcus replied. Behind them, the radio crackled with voices. Other humans, other survivors, other people who refused to give up. The hunt for Site 7 had begun. The old truck stop looked like a graveyard of metal and concrete. Broken gas pumps stood like tombstones in the morning light. The building had no roof, and weeds grew through cracks in the parking lot. But it was perfect for hiding. Marcus crouched behind an overturned truck and watched the road. Elena and Jake waited in the ruins of the restaurant. They had been there for 2 hours and no one else had arrived yet. "Maybe they changed their minds," Jake whispered into his radio. "They'll come," Marcus said. But he was starting to worry too. A sound made him look up. Something was moving on the horizon, dust clouds rising from the south. Then he saw them, vehicles, old cars and trucks painted in dirt colors to blend with the landscape. "Texas Star incoming," a voice said on the radio. 12 souls ready to raise hell." The first truck pulled into the parking lot. It was an old pickup with metal plates welded over the windows. Gun barrels stuck out through holes in the armor. The truck stopped near Marcus and a man climbed out. He was about 50 years old with gray hair and scars on his face. He carried a rifle that looked like it had been through several wars. Behind him came 11 other people, men and women of different ages, all armed, all moving like soldiers. "You must be Marcus," the man said. "I'm Colonel Sam Rodriguez. Used to run an army base in Texas before the aliens turned it into a crater." Marcus shook his hand. "Good to meet you, Colonel." Just Sam now. Army doesn't exist anymore." Sam looked around the ruins. "Nice place for a meeting. Ugly enough that even the aliens don't want to look at it." More vehicles appeared from the east. Russian voices on the radio announced Wolfpack's arrival. 8 people in 2 armored cars that looked like they had been built from spare parts. And anger. Their leader was a woman named Katya who spoke English with a thick accent. "We bring gifts," she said, opening the back of one car. Inside were boxes of ammunition and what looked like alien weapons. "We hit supply convoy 2 days ago. Aliens make good guns if you know how to use them." From the south came Jaguar team. 5 people in a converted school bus painted green and brown. Their leader was a man named Carlos who moved like a jungle cat. His people carried weapons that Marcus had never seen before. "Poison darts?" Carlos explained when Marcus asked. "Made from plants in our jungle, very effective against alien skin. Makes them sleep forever." The last group to arrive was Kangaroo Base. 10 people in 3 vehicles that looked like they could drive through a mountain. Their leader was a woman named Sarah with sun-damaged skin and eyes like steel. "Sorry we're late," she said. "Had to take the long way around. Alien patrol almost spotted us near the border." Marcus looked at the 35 people gathered in the ruined truck stop. They came from different countries, spoke different languages, and carried different weapons, but they all had the same look in their eyes. The look of people who had lost everything and decided to fight back. "Before we start," Sam said, "we need to know what we're really looking for. Site 7 could be anything, could be nothing." Jake opened his laptop and showed them the alien communications he had intercepted. They've been searching for 15 years. Every month, they send teams to different locations around Aurora, always the same pattern. Always looking for something. "Underground? Underground?" Katya repeated. "In my country, we build many underground facilities during Cold War, bunkers, command centers, storage areas." "The Americans built underground facilities too," Sam said. "Military bases, research labs, places where they kept things they didn't want anyone to find." Sarah spread a map on the hood of a truck. "These are the coordinates, Jake. Intercepted right here." She pointed to a spot west of Aurora. "Problem is, there's an alien base right on top of it." Marcus studied the map. The alien base covered several square miles. It was one of their biggest facilities in North America. Hundreds of aliens lived and worked there. "We can't fight our way through an entire alien army," Elena said. "We don't have to," Carlos said quietly. "We just need to get inside and find what we're looking for." "How?" Marcus asked. Carlos smiled. "The same way we've been fighting them for 15 years. We'd be smart instead of strong." Sarah pointed to the map again. "Intel says they're bringing in more transport ships tonight. Big operation. They're going to empty every human settlement within 100 miles. Which means most of their security will be focused on the transports," Sam said, "not on guarding whatever they're hiding underground." Katya pulled out a device that looked like a small telescope. "We have electromagnetic scanner. Can detect metal and electronics underground. If there is human facility buried there, we can find it. I can hack their security systems," Jake said. "Create false alarms in other parts of the base. Draw guards away from the real target. My people know how to move without being seen," Carlos added. "We can get close to the facility while they're distracted." Marcus felt the plan coming together. "Elena, how many medical supplies do you have?" "Enough. For battlefield surgery? Why?" "Because some of us might not make it back." Elena nodded grimly. "I understand." Sam checked his rifle. "What's the timeline?" Marcus looked at his watch. "Transport ships arrive at sunset. That gives us 8 hours to scout the area and get into position. We hit the base right after dark when they're busy loading prisoners." "And if we find Site 7? Sarah asked. "Then we see what the aliens have been so afraid of for 15 years. They spent the next hour planning the attack. Sam's people would create a distraction on the east side of the base. Katya's team would use their scanners to locate the underground facility. Carlos and his team would infiltrate the base and find the entrance. Sarah's group would provide covering fire and escape routes. Marcus, Elena, and Jake would go with Carlos to actually enter Site 7. "One more thing," Jake said as they prepared to leave. "I've been monitoring alien communications all morning. They're not just bringing transport ships to Aurora. They're bringing warships, too. Big ones." "How big?" Sam asked. "Big enough to destroy this entire area if they want to." The group was quiet for a moment. They all knew what that meant. If the aliens discovered what they were doing, none of them would survive. "So we don't get discovered," Marcus said simply. As the sun climbed higher, the teams began moving toward Aurora. They traveled in small groups, using different routes to avoid detection. Marcus rode with Carlos in the converted school bus. Through the armored windows, he could see the alien base growing larger on the horizon. The blue towers stretched into the sky like metal fingers. Aircraft moved around them in precise patterns. On the ground, alien vehicles patrolled the perimeter. Everything was organized, efficient, and deadly. You ever wonder what Earth was like before they came? Carlos asked as they drove. Every day, Marcus replied. My grandmother told me stories. About cities full of lights, about people who could travel anywhere they wanted, about children who played in parks without fear. We'll have that again, Marcus said. You really believe that? Marcus watched an alien aircraft pass overhead. Its shadow fell across the bus. Like a dark promise. I have to believe it, he said. Because if I don't, then they've already won. The bus rolled on toward Aurora, carrying them toward whatever secrets lay buried beneath the alien base. Behind them, the other teams followed. Different paths toward the same destination. The assault on Site 7 was about to begin. The alien base at Aurora glowed in the darkness like a mechanical city. Blue lights moved between the towers, and the sound of machinery never stopped. Marcus lay on his belly in the tall grass, watching through binoculars as the transport ships landed. Each ship was the size of a city block. They came down slowly, their engines making the ground shake. Alien soldiers marched out in perfect lines. Behind them came the prisoners. Marcus counted at least 300 humans being led toward the ships. Men, women, children. Some were crying, others walked like they had given up hope long ago. All of them had the same look of defeat. This is it, he whispered into his radio. They're loading them now. 500 yards to his left, Sam's team was in position near the east gate. Katya's group was north of the base with their scanning equipment. Sarah's people had found high ground to the south. Carlos and his team were already moving through the shadows toward the outer fence. Jake lay next to Marcus, his laptop open and connected to a small antenna. I'm in their security system, he whispered. I can see everything from their cameras. Where are the guards? Elena asked from behind them. Most of them are at the landing pad, Jake said. But there are still patrols around the base. And something else. What? There's an area in the center of the base that doesn't show up on any of their maps. The cameras go dark around it. Like there's something there they don't want their own people to see. Marcus adjusted his binoculars. In the center of the base was a circular area surrounded by high walls. No lights came from inside, no movement. It looked empty, but that was impossible. Nothing in an alien base was ever empty. That has to be it, Marcus said. That's where they're hiding Site 7, Katya's voice came over the radio. We are getting strong readings from underground. Metal structures, very deep. Definitely human construction. How deep? Marcus asked. Maybe 50 meters, maybe more. Whatever's down there, it is big. Sam's voice joined the conversation. Transport ships are almost loaded. You need to move soon. Marcus looked at Carlos through his binoculars. The south. American was already at the outer fence with his team. They moved like ghosts in the darkness, cutting through the alien wire without making a sound. Carlos, you're clear to advance, Marcus said. Copy. Moving to inner perimeter. Jake's fingers flew over his keyboard. I'm creating false alarms in sectors 5 and 7. That should draw guards away from the center. Red lights began flashing on the east side of the base. Alien voices shouted in their harsh language. Marcus watched guards running toward the false alarms, leaving the center area less protected. Sam, start your distraction, Marcus ordered. Explosions lit up the eastern fence. Sam's people had planted charges on some alien vehicles. Nothing big enough to cause real damage, but loud enough to get attention. More guards ran toward the noise. Perfect, Carlos whispered over the radio. Inner fence is clear. Moving toward the central area, Marcus, Elena, and Jake began their own advance. They crawled through the grass until they reached the outer fence. Jake used a small device to short out the electrical wires. They cut a hole and slipped inside. The alien base was bigger than it looked from outside. Buildings stretched in all directions, connected by raised walkways. Alien soldiers patrolled between them, but most were focused on the disturbances to the east. They moved between shadows, staying low and quiet. Elena carried her medical bag and a small pistol. Jake had his laptop and some electronic tools. Marcus carried the best rifle they had found, plus extra ammunition and explosives. "Carlos, what's your position?" Marcus whispered. "At the wall around the central area. There's a gate, but it's locked with alien technology. Jake, can you help?" Jake pulled out a device that looked like a metal spider. "I'm sending you a decoder. Attach it to the lock and wait 30 seconds. They watched Carlos place the device. On the gate, lights flashed. Then the gate opened silently. "We're in," Carlos said, "and you need to see this." Marcus and his team reached the central area 5 minutes later. What they found made them stop and stare. In the middle of the circular space was a hole in the ground. Not a normal hole, but a perfect circle cut through concrete and steel. It was 20 feet across and so deep that their flashlights couldn't reach the bottom. "The aliens didn't build this," Elena said. "No," Marcus agreed. "They found it." Around the hole were alien machines and computers. Cables ran down into the darkness. Lights blinked on control panels. The aliens had been studying whatever was down there for a long time. Jake connected his laptop to one of the alien computers. "I'm downloading their files. This might take a few minutes." Carlos and his team formed a circle around them, watching for guards. The false alarms were still going off on the other side of the base, but that wouldn't last forever. "Got it, Jake," said Marcus. "You need to see this." On Jake's laptop screen was a map of the underground area. It showed tunnels and rooms spreading out in all directions. At the center was a large chamber labeled with human writing. NORAD Secondary Command, Site 7 Ultra Secret. "NORAD," Elena whispered. "That's the old military command center." "I thought NORAD was in Colorado," Marcus said. "The main one was," Elena replied. "But they built backup facilities all over the country. Secret ones." Jake scrolled through more files. "According to this, Site 7 was built in the 1980s. It was designed to be a backup command center if the main NORAD facility was destroyed. It has its own power supply, communication systems, and weapons." "Weapons?" Marcus asked. "Nuclear missiles, satellite control systems, defensive networks. Everything they would need to fight a war." Marcus felt his heart beat faster. "Are they still functional?" "The aliens think so. That's why they've been searching for it. They found the entrance, but they can't get inside. The facility is designed to keep out any attack, including nuclear weapons." "Then how do we get in?" Jake smiled. "The same way the original operators would have, with the right codes." "Do we have the codes?" "No, but I know where to find them." Jake pointed to his laptop screen. It showed a small building near the edge of the hole. "That's a guard station. The aliens have been using it to monitor the site. But according to these files, it was originally the entrance control room. The codes should be in the computer system there." Carlos looked at his watch. "We need to move. The distraction won't last much longer." They left the hole and headed for the guard station. It was a small concrete building with thick walls and no windows. 2 alien guards stood outside the door. "I'll take them," Carlos whispered. He pulled out 2 of his poison darts. The darts flew silently through the air. Both guards fell without making a sound. Carlos and his team dragged the bodies into the shadows. Inside the guard station, Jake found what they were looking for. An old human computer terminal, still connected to the underground facility. The screen showed a single message: "Enter authorization code." "How long will this take?" Marcus asked. "I don't know. Could be minutes, could be hours. We don't have hours." Jake's fingers moved over the keyboard. "Then I better work fast." Outside, the sounds of the alien base were changing. The false alarms had stopped. Guards were returning to their normal positions. Soon they would discover the missing sentries. "Sam, we need more time," Marcus said into his radio. "Already on it, preparing second distraction." More explosions echoed from the eastern fence. This time, the aliens were ready for them. Alien aircraft lifted off from the base, their searchlights sweeping the ground. "They're getting suspicious," Sarah's voice warned over the radio. Warships are powering up their weapons. Marcus watched Jake work. The young man's face was covered in sweat, but his fingers never stopped moving. Line after line of code scrolled across the screen. "Come on," Marcus whispered. "Come on," the computer beeped. The screen went black. Then new words appeared. "Welcome to Site 7, awaiting orders." "I'm in," Jake said. "Can you access the weapons?" "Everything. Nuclear missiles, satellite networks, orbital defense platforms." "It's all here, Marcus. All of it still works." Marcus stared at the screen. For 15 years, the aliens had occupied Earth. They had destroyed cities, enslaved humans, and stolen everything humanity had built. But they had never found humanity's most powerful weapons. "Jake," he said quietly, "can you target their warships?" Jake's fingers flew over the keyboard, already locked on. "All 6 ships in orbit, plus the 3 that just took off. Fire." You sure?" Marcus thought about the prisoners being loaded onto the transport ships. He thought about Elena's patients dying in dark basements. He thought about Jake growing up without ever seeing a free sky. "Fire everything." Jake pressed a single key. High above Earth, satellites that had been silent for 15 years suddenly came to life. Missile silos that the aliens never found opened their doors. Weapons that humanity had built to defend against any threat turned toward the alien fleet. The war for Earth had begun again. The first explosion lit up the night sky like a new sun. Marcus watched through the window of the guard station as one of the alien warships broke apart in space. Pieces of burning metal fell toward Earth like deadly stars. "Direct hit on the flagship," Jake said, his eyes glued to the computer screen. Targeting second ship, another flash. Another alien warship died in silence high above them. On the ground, alien soldiers were running in all directions. Their perfect order had turned into chaos. "The transport ships are trying to lift off," Elena said, watching through binoculars. "The prisoners are still on board." Marcus grabbed his radio. "All teams, the prisoners are in danger. We need to stop those transports before they escape." "On it," Sam's voice came back. His team was already moving toward the landing pad, firing at the alien guards around the ships. Jake's fingers flew over the keyboard. "I'm locking onto the transport ships, but if I hit them, the prisoners will die too. Can you disable them instead of destroying them? Maybe Site 7 has electromagnetic pulse weapons? They might shut down the ships without killing anyone." "Inside. Do it," Jake typed commands into the computer. High above Earth, a satellite turned toward the transport ships. Instead of missiles, it fired invisible waves of energy. The first transport ship suddenly went dark. Its engines stopped. It dropped back to the ground with a heavy crash, but not hard enough to kill the people inside. "It worked," Jake shouted. "Hitting the other ships now." One by one, the transport ships fell silent and crashed back to the landing pad. Alien soldiers tried to restart them, but their technology was dead. "Sam, the ships are down," Marcus said into his radio. "Get those people out of there. Already moving." "Carlos is with us. We're cutting through the hull now." On the computer screen, Jake showed Marcus what was happening around Earth. Red dots marked alien ships in orbit. Green dots marked human weapons targeting them. One by one, the red dots were disappearing. "How many ships are left?" Marcus asked. "In orbit? Maybe 20, but there are more coming. The aliens are calling for help from their other worlds." Marcus felt cold fear in his stomach. "How many more? Hundreds? Maybe thousands. This is just the beginning, Marcus." Elena put her hand on his shoulder. "We always knew this would happen eventually. We couldn't hide forever." Marcus stared at the computer screen. They had found Site 7. They had activated humanity's hidden weapons. They had struck the first blow against the alien occupation. But now they faced a war that could destroy everything. "Jake, what else can Site 7 do?" Jake scrolled through pages of information. "It's connected to other facilities. Underground. Bases all over the world. Most of them are still sealed and functional, and there's something else." "What?" "A manufacturing system. Site 7 was designed to build weapons and equipment automatically. It's been sitting here for 15 years. just waiting for someone to turn it on. Marcus looked around the small guard station. Through the floor, he could feel machinery starting to move deep underground. Site 7 was waking up after decades of sleep. How long before it's fully operational? According to this, maybe 6 hours, but we'll have defensive systems online much sooner. Outside, the sounds of battle were getting closer. Alien soldiers had discovered the guard station and were moving toward it. Red energy beams flashed through the darkness. "Sam, what's your status?" Marcus asked. "We freed about 200 prisoners. But there are still more ships, and the aliens are counterattacking hard. We can't hold this position much longer." Carlos's voice joined the radio conversation. "My people are covering the escape routes, but alien reinforcements are coming from the north." "Katya here," the Russian woman said. "We are seeing movement all around the base. Thousands of alien soldiers, they are very angry." Sarah's voice was tense. "Warships are coming down from orbit. 3 of them. They'll be here in 10 minutes. Marcus made a decision. "All teams, fall back to the hole. We're going underground." "Underground?" Sam asked. "Site 7. It's the safest place on Earth right now." Jake was already working on opening the entrance to the underground facility. The computer screen showed a map of tunnels leading down from the hole in the center of the base. "I've got it," Jake said. "The entrance is opening now." Through the window, Marcus could see a platform rising from the bottom of the hole. It was big enough to hold all of them, plus the freed prisoners. "All teams move to the platform now?" "That's our way out." They ran from the guard station toward the hole. Alien energy beams flew past them. One beam hit the wall next to Elena's head, leaving a smoking crater in the concrete. Carlos and his team reached the platform first, followed by Sam's group with 200 freed prisoners. The people looked confused and frightened, but they followed the soldiers without question. Katya's team arrived next, carrying their scanning equipment. Sarah's people came last, fighting a running battle with alien soldiers who were trying to cut them off. "Everyone on the platform!" Marcus shouted. "Jake, get us down there." The platform began to descend into the hole. As they went down, Marcus could see the alien base shrinking above them. Spotlights shone down from the rim, but they couldn't reach the platform. "How deep does this go?" Elena asked. 50 meters, Jake replied. "Maybe more." The platform moved through layers of rock and concrete. Emergency lights came on along the walls, showing the entrance to Site 7. After 15 years of darkness, the facility was coming back to life. They reached the bottom and stepped off the platform into a corridor that stretched away into the distance. The walls were made of steel and concrete. Air moved through hidden vents. Lights turned on automatically as they walked. "Welcome to the real NORAD," Jake said. They followed the corridor to a large chamber filled with computers and control stations. Screens covered the walls, showing maps of Earth and space. Some screens displayed the alien ships still in orbit. Others showed human facilities around the world. "Look at this," Elena said, pointing to one of the screens. It showed a map of North America with green dots scattered across it. "Are those all human bases?" "Underground facilities," Jake confirmed. "Most of them are still sealed, but Site 7 can wake them up remotely." Marcus studied the map. There were dozens of green dots. Hidden bases that the aliens had never found. Places where humans could fight back. "Wake them up," he said. "All of them." Jake typed commands into the main computer. Around the world, underground facilities that had been sleeping for decades began to activate. In Colorado, Montana, Nevada, and 20 other states, lights came on in buried command centers. Weapon systems powered up. Communication networks came online. "Sir," one of the freed prisoners said. Marcus turned to see a woman in torn clothes but standing straight like a soldier. "Captain Lisa Park, formerly of the Air Force. If you're planning what I think you're planning, you'll need pilots. Do you know how to fly human aircraft?" "I know how to fly anything with wings." "And according to these computers, Site 7 has a hangar full of aircraft that the aliens never found." Marcus felt hope growing in his chest. They had weapons. They had bases, they had people willing to fight. For the first time in 15 years, humanity had a real chance. Jake, send a message to every human facility. Tell them the war has started again. Tell them we're taking our planet back. Jake's fingers moved over the keyboard. Around the world, hidden human bases received the same message. This is Site 7. The resistance begins now. Activate all systems, prepare for war. Above them, alien warships landed at the Aurora base. Alien soldiers poured into the hole, searching for the humans who had disappeared underground. But they were too late. Humanity had found its strength again. The real war was just beginning. Marcus stood in the command center, surrounded by freed prisoners and fellow fighters. On the screens around him, green dots were appearing all over the world as human bases came online. The aliens had taken everything from humanity in the first war. Now it was time to take it back.